Here's p75. Now, p75 is a fascinating Gospels manuscript. It does not contain all of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, portions of Luke and John primarily. But what's really fascinating is this guy was the ancient equivalent of Steve Lawson, okay? Now, that does not mean that he had the exact same tie, but he was very particular. Now, we don't know what he ate, but we know he was very particular. He was very, very accurate. Because when you think about it, when you're copying, if you want to copy from a printed text, there's different ways you can do it. You can copy word for word. You can copy phrase for phrase. If your memory is really good, maybe sentence by sentence. But you see, the longer the section that you're memorizing and then copying, the more possibility you're going to forget something, transpose something along those lines, right? So we can tell by the kinds of errors that are made how the copyist did his work. And what's fascinating about p75 is that this guy copied letter by letter, one letter at a time. That takes a while. But it's also why this is one of the most accurate of the early manuscripts we have. And later on, you're going to see, I'm going to show you Codex Vaticanus. And we know by the readings contained in p75 and Vaticanus that they are both related to one another. Now, Vaticanus is not a copy of p75, but the two of them had an ancestor that they are both copied from. And since p75 is from around 175 to 200, that means that when Vaticanus and p75 agree, we're looking at an ancestor that goes back to about 125, so about the same time as p52, and contains a whole lot more than p52 did. And so it's fascinating that we can push our text so close. And I hope you understand what the importance of that is. People running around saying all the time, well, you took doctrines out, you put doctrines in. When? At what time could it have happened? There was no central group in charge in those early years that could have gathered up all the manuscripts and made changes. It's just not possible. It's a persecuted group of people spread all over the place. And so if you have manuscripts that are related to one another like that, very clearly you have a line of transmission that is reliable. Only a hyper-skeptic would deny that. Only a hyper-skeptic would deny that. This, by the way, is the end of Luke. And, oops, okay, never mind. I thought I zoomed out there and it had John 1:1 in it, but that was the end of Luke, the beginning of John.